really just talk about, PcMars a bit and traction and what this all means. We made the announcement quite a few months ago that Traction Ag acquired PcMars. And so for those of you who don't know who Traction is, so we are a farm accounting software company located in Auburn, Indiana. We are founded by three people, two of which have been with FarmWorks for a very long time. So those of you who are familiar with the name FarmWorks software, it kind of goes back to the 1990s with desktop software, which is really what PcMars is all about. So Traction was launched in 2020. So a group of us left FarmWorks and then started Traction in 2020. So it's not a company or a group of people that know nothing about agriculture. We've been living and breathing the accounting world and farming for a very long time, and so this has been a very very awesome experience, really taking farm accounting to the next level, which I think you'll enjoy some of the things that you see here today. Okay, so why did Traction acquire PcMars? So this happened back in November. Um, so really, what it wasn't really about us removing PcMars off the market. It was really about giving you folks a choice. So people who have PcMars today, um, you can keep using PcMars as long as you want. We're not taking any software away from any PcMars customer. If you're happy with what you got, then keep using it. But what's really exciting about this is that you now have options. So for the people who maybe want to take their farm accounting to the next level, and maybe they want to share it on multiple computers and maybe share it with their accountant and others and be able to work in one project a little bit easier. Definitely taking it to the cloud is something that makes a lot of sense if you're kind of thinking about that. And there's been a lot of conversations I've had the past few months with people who might have sons and daughters coming up the ranks. And so when you're kind of thinking of it from that perspective, PcMars is a very solid farm accounting package, but there is something to say about using something maybe a little bit more modern for your farm. That might be a good fit for you, maybe not. So again, this is really all about options. And what really makes this even more exciting for you is the fact that we're bringing Kent, we've got Scott here from Traction, we got just decades of farm accounting experience under one roof. So as you kind of think about where this is all going, having all those minds under one roof is definitely an advantage for any PcMars customer. One of the things that we did release here, it is what we call a feature flagged at the moment, so our team can kind of help you with this, but we do have the ability to start moving some of your accounting information from PcMars over to Traction. And so this is just basically what that screen would look like. At the moment, we can bring over contacts. So you can we can work with you in getting your contacts exported out, do a batch bulk import into Traction. That way you don't have to rekey in names, addresses, phone numbers, all that. So that definitely makes it much easier. And there'll be some other things that we're working on a bit further down the road to kind of streamline the process of getting your stuff over from PcMars to Traction. Uh, this is just a very small table that kind of gives you a high level of what the Traction tiers, different products look like. So we have Basic, Plus, and Pro. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about Basic because even with the basic level of our software, you'll be able to do most of the things that you can do in PcMars in the basic level. But again, for the people who want to do maybe a bit more than just that, there is this what we call Traction Plus and Traction Pro. And those kind of things get into like inventory management of your inputs and your grain. When you start thinking about field record keeping and tying it to John Deere operations or climate field view, you can do it with the Plus and Pro and be able to tie your whole field record keeping experience in with your accounting in one system. So all these different tiers you can kind of upgrade from basic to plus to pro anytime you want. So it definitely makes a lot of sense with the basic. For those of you that have PcMars, take a hard look at the basic level And I believe that's where Hannah's going to start today.
Well, good morning, everyone. You get to hear my voice as well today. My name is Hannah Everett. I'm Director of Customer Success at Traction Ag. And along with my team, what we really focus on is that customer experience. So, how can we help folks get into the program, make sure that they're set up and comfortable with it, and then also supporting them throughout the entire time that they're with Traction. So, actually, in the time that we've been in this webinar, we've had two different chats come in from current customers that are just looking for some help getting field records in or with coding something. So that's what our team is here for. So with the Traction name and with the platform and now being under the Traction umbrella, that's something that will continue. So I know you've had great service from Kent and Tracy over the years. That will continue with an even larger team. And we're here to make the experience one that is valuable and to help with whatever you need. So as we go through, I'm going to start presenting here on the platform. So I'm just going to do an overview and we're going to look at Traction Basic first. And then I may, if we have time, dive into the higher level ones. I've got some accounts that have some demo data in them that we can take a look at. However, I will warn you all now, I used to be a high school teacher. I can talk for a very long time with no interaction, and I don't really want to subject everyone to that if it's not absolutely necessary. So as we go through, if you have questions, I would appreciate if you can just unmute or you can pop into the chat and Brian will let me know that there's a question in there and we can take this in whatever direction is valuable for this group. So with a small group, that's super helpful to make sure we're not looking at things that you don't want to see and we can spend time on things that you do want to see. The other piece that I'll throw out is that as you go through this, if there are different items that you say, hey, I really want to dig more into that and I want to talk through what it would look like for my personal operation, I would be more than happy to set up a one-to-one meeting with you. So that way we can really dive in and work through those scenarios one-to-one as well. So that all being said, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the platform right now. So as you're looking at it, this is what you would see if you logged in to Traction under a basic account. So here on the side menu, um, you've got all your different items down here. You've got up here in the accounting section, obviously, our dashboard that we're going to start on, chart of accounts, which we'll talk through, the account register where we spend most of our time in the system, reconciling contacts. We also have the ability to tie things within the system, not only to the accounting side, but also to crop years. So we can track things by fiscal year and we can track things by crop year. And that will start to sound very familiar in terms of what you now know as enterprises. So we're going to call them profit centers. That will be a piece that is quickly coming into the system with Ken's help and the team of engineers that we have. They're working on that right now. So while you won't see enterprises today, that is something that's coming in the form of what we're going to call profit centers in the traction system. So lots of new development coming. So this will change a little bit, but the functionality will hopefully highly match what you already do in the system. It's just going to look pretty significantly different. So when you first come into the traction system, the first thing that you would do is set up entities or sets of books. So within the system, you can have as many entities as you want. They can have different fiscal years. So say that you've got a business that is a January 1 to the end of the year, you can put that in, but then maybe you also have a new entity that ends on June 30th, if that's your fiscal year. So you can backtrack to that and then have different ownership percentages in those as well. So you can put those percentages in, those will automatically create those drawing accounts for you. So those will exist within the system. All of that is already tied. But you can be tracking multiple things. This is great for multi-generational farms or for the farms where maybe you do have a trucking business on the side or not even on the side if it's a main element of your operation. Personally, we do some custom planting and harvesting. So sometimes if we want to keep that separate, we can do that within the system. From there, we would start on, excuse me, adding our revenue and expense accounts or building out that chart of accounts. I'm going to quickly step over into this section. So you can see here that it's set up pretty similarly in the fact that our assets are at the top as we go down through our liabilities, equity, revenue, and then expense categories are all here. What's obviously different is that we can customize this. So you can create whatever accounts you want. So if I have tag printing expenses, I can add that in if I have a business that I'm running specifically for feed and selling feed out of it. I also will note here that at this time, I don't currently in this account have any account numbers associated, but that does not mean that I can't add them. So that's a piece that we are working on with the team as well. So if I knew that this expense account, Kent, don't be mad at me. I think they're the 4,000 or the 400s. We'll just say it's account 432.
And 400s for typical scheduled F expenses.
Perfect. I thought I had it right. So thank you.
Doing great.
So we'll just say it's account 432, tag printing expenses. I can save and close that, and that's how it would appear in my account register. So we still can get the same results within the system, but you do have the ability to customize it and then build in those subheadings as well to help group those accounts. And that's the way it will show on that income or the P&L statement. So as I go through here, some of these you'll see, I didn't manually create all of them though. So that's part of that setup feature out here is that we can do a quick add per entity. So if I'm looking at Traction Farms, some of these revenue accounts already exist, but if I needed to add something, maybe I do have breeding fees that I want to add into, I can go down through here and I can quickly select those. And that way I don't have to custom build the entire chart of accounts. Or maybe we got an employee added, so we need to add some of these as well. And I can just go through and pick some of these to add into my chart of accounts, or I can go in and edit these and create them on my own as well. But a quick save goes ahead and adds that. And I could do the same with the trucking. And again, here, I may not have any chemical expense in that trucking entity or that set of books. So therefore, I don't need to add it in the expense categories. And I can just pick where I want to add those. And they can differ, obviously, by that entity. So I'm going to take a quick pause there for a breath. Any questions so far from anyone? And again, you can unmute or you can type it into the chat.
Yeah, so far I have not seen any questions, Hannah.
Okay. I warned you all, I will just keep talking. Okay, so once we've got that chart of accounts built out, right? And we feel like this is pretty well set of where we want our books to be in terms of that chart of accounts. It does not mean that we have to be completely done with it. So just like in PcMars, you have the ability to add those accounts as well down the road if you need to use them, and you can assign things to different accounts or we can edit them in terms of what they're called. So if we need to adjust anything, we have the ability to do that. But in terms of just getting set up, that's a quick way to do that within the system. And then we'll work through and actually adding in, obviously, the financial transactions. So back in my setup feature, I have the ability to do multiple different things in terms of getting in my financial transactions. Because we are a cloud-based system, we do have the ability to connect into the bank and credit card accounts automatically through Plaid, which is an integration that most banks are using or most different platforms are using. So you can see here that I've got lots of different options to choose from. If I don't see my bank, I can just type it in. So if it's a singular brick and mortar in my small town, it may or may not be linked to Plaid, but a lot of times we do find that they are there if they have an online presence. So if you have an online login, you would type that into there and you would just use your username and password, and then you can go in and pick which accounts to connect. So for instance, my family, we do use Huntington Bank for both personal and the farm. When I type in my username and password, all of my accounts would come up. So that includes the farm, our personal checking, any savings accounts for our children, those types of things. I can pick which ones I want to connect to which entities. So I don't have to connect everything. I can go in and pick and choose from there. And that would automatically bring in those transactions from the date I selected. So even if right now I said I want to go back to January 1st, I could go and have it pull all of those transactions from January 1st into those accounts connected to the correct entities. If I don't want to do that, another option is that I can manually create those bank accounts. So I could say, yes, I have a checking account here. And maybe this is oops, I'm going to change this. This is the farm checking. And then I can manually enter in the balance. And once I have this account created, we'll just say, keep a small account. Then I am opening up the account register, and I can toggle between these different accounts within my Traction account registers. But once I have the opening balance in here, then I would have the option also to import transactions. So I could go ahead and bring in that bank CSV file, which I know some of you are familiar with in doing that. And so I could just import in those transactions by dropping in that CSV file, or I can go ahead and just manually add transactions as well. But again, I've got multiple different account registers, so I can bounce in and out of those different accounts depending on what's connected or not connected. I can look at different date ranges and then filter types of transactions as well. I'm going to pause again real quick so that I can take a drink. Any questions on the account register creation at this point? Or Kent, anything that you would add in there that might be as a comparison between PcMars and the way that they bring in transactions?
I would just say that linking to Plaid, of course, is just a additional feature, and that really helps speed up the entry. But right now, they're just used to importing CSV, or most people will do the manually enter, so they'll break their check out when they actually write it, which they could do through the add new right there, just like they do in PcMars. So.
Yep. Absolutely. If there's no other questions, I'm going to jump right into that then. Any other questions before I do? Okay. So like Kent said, the way that we would go through, and we don't have a quick shortcut on the keyboard for this, but it's a simple hit the add new button. And let's just say that I went and made a payment today. We're going to do it to Joe Bob. We're going to say that we're writing a check to this individual. And then I would just go down through and line item out this check. So this should look very familiar too. In this instance, I'm going to keep my type as other, and we'll just say that it was an equipment repair that I could do if I have that account on here. Looks like there we go. Interesting. Okay, we'll just say that we purchased a piece of equipment on this one. Need to edit out my account register. So maybe we spent $5,000 on that particular piece of equipment, or we purchased something. Maybe it was, any type of piece for implementation. So I can have that $5,000 expense. And then I can always add rows in here. So maybe I also had, a crop storage expense that I wanted to pay on this particular check, or I'm just breaking it out and it was a large deposit. I could do that as well right within the system. Another option within Traction you'll see here is this cost allocation. So on any of these transactions, if I have my fields in, or my zones, or my pieces of equipment in, I can actually allocate. So if this crop storage expense went to a particular field, if I had that in this system, I could go ahead and pick that here. So I'd be able to select which fields that went to. I can show that better in the other demo account that I have connected to John Deere. But I can line item out this transaction. I can put in descriptions where needed. I can add a memo, and then I can also drag and drop in files. So maybe this was a bill that I took in that I need to pay. I can drag and drop that into here so that way I've got it. Or if I had any sort of, even chicken scratch notes that I want to take a picture of, drag and drop it into here. So that way I've got a visual record of that in documentation. I can do that right within the transaction. Additionally, I do have the option still to print checks. Oh, go Kent.
I guess I just wanted to say on there, if they notice a difference, like when they add the lines below, see the total adds to. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you had another $100, that'd be a little bit different. They're used to requiring both, and see that updates automatically, which is nice. And then the other thing is, I think the other with quantity is probably what they're used to the most. So if they track it with the basics, there they go. I just wanted to point that out, that they have the same features in PcMars with that option. So sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're great. That's a good point. So I've got 20 bags, we'll just say. Maybe that was another $100. So that can track too. So $5 a bag in the system. Good point, Kent. So all of these can be put in here. My total up at the top has been adjusting, and my total down here has been adjusting. So also though, if I say that I actually spent 56.50, you'll see that I have $20 showing uncategorized down here. So it is giving me the balance that I have yet to put to this transaction as well. Otherwise, it'll keep adding it up for me. Now, I could just save this and then it would obviously go into the account register. I also have the option to print the check directly from here. So I can do that and save this and add another, or save and close this window. I can also add it to a batch of checks to print as well in the system. So if you are printing checks out of here, that is still something that you can do within the Traction Basic. So nothing changes in terms of that. Any other questions, or Kent, any other comments on this one that you would want to highlight for the group?
I would just say if they're used to using the batch check printing in PcMars, that's an option they have to enable to get that feature. It's here in Traction too. Most people probably on print checks one at a time, and that works great too. I just want to make sure they knew they had the same features as PcMars with one at a time or batch check printing. So great.
Awesome.
What it gives them, they'll get more features here. I just want to point out that they're not losing anything. So thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Kent. All right. Any other questions from transaction? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and save that, and then I'll see that within here. I also then can go back into that transaction. So if I needed to fix something, I can certainly do that right within the system. One thing I didn't point out here, I'm just thinking too, is that family living category as well will pop up, and there's a family living report, and I could add in if maybe this we accidentally or meant to put groceries on it, and maybe that was another $100 that we spent on this transaction. I can level that up and put it into this as well. Okay. Again, if I just want to flip between sets of books now, so let's say that this Traction Farm checking and this line of credit maybe was with the trucking entity that I have in here, the set of books for trucking. Simply by clicking into it, I can switch, and then I'm working in that set of books. So that is a big difference that's pretty significant in the system, where I don't need to log in and log out. I don't need to switch between sets of books. They are automatically in the system. And just by going to the different account register, I would know that that was in a separate entity. Also, though, if I had this set up correctly in this account, we would see an entity box right here where my mouse is, where it would show me, okay, now you're working in the trucking. I must not have anything up under that one in this demo. So it would tell me, hey, you're working in this entity. Here's the account that you're working in. And that way I would be very clear on where I'm working and which sets of books I'm working in. We also have a reconcile tool in here, which would be familiar to everyone. So again, I can put in whatever ending balance I think that I have in here, do my ending date, and then I can start reconciling these accounts. So obviously this one's very out of balance, but I would have the ability to go in and do any of those reconciliations as I go through. And then there are reports that I can print out and save for those reconciliations as well. So same functionality, just looks a little bit different in the system. Go ahead, Kent.
So I'd say the great thing here I like about the reconcile is that in PcMars, you reconciled each month. So you were just only had 12 options, January, February, so forth. Here, when you choose the date, it makes it a lot easier. You can reconcile a couple times a month if you're doing that offline. You don't have to wait for that paper statement. So that really helps out, gives more flexibility, I want to point out.
Yep. Any other questions on reconciliation? I don't have much in this account. If I had a bigger demo account on this side, we could really take a look at that.
Had a question come through here, Hannah. So if you have connected your bank and stuff is flowing in, does that make the reconciling a little bit easier to do?
It certainly does. So then it's just a quick check as you go down through. Also in the account register, let me find one that has a few more transactions. You'll notice over here the status. So when it comes in directly from the bank through that Plaid integration, it will automatically mark as a cleared status. So for instance, if this Nutrien, if I wanted to clear it, it would show as a C for cleared. The bank statements or the bank transactions will automatically come in as cleared. And then as I'm going and lining those things up, as soon as I've categorized it and I know exactly what that expenditure is, then I can go ahead and actually reconcile directly from here as well. So I can say, yep, I know that this transaction happened. I can pull and compare with that bank statement, but I know that those are true as they come in. So it makes it a lot faster. And then again, I'm not adding everything by hand. The CSV file comes in very similarly. So as I import those transactions too, I'm going to see them all populate, and then I can just go through and categorize those and make sure that every line item is correct on those transactions. So both are quick. Flat is obviously the fastest, but the CSV import will also lead to the same result. Additionally, if let's say that this checking account is connected, and I say, well, I want to write this check today and I want to print it out of Traction. So I go through and I create, I have this check in here and I want to go ahead and print it. And I know that it's going to come in from the bank later. Then I can automatically, the system will automatically recognize that, hey, these are the same transaction, right? They have the same date, they have the same amount, and it will ask you if you want to go ahead and merge those together. So the system does recognize, hey, you wrote this check. Now it's actually processed through the bank. When we bring in that sync, do you want to go ahead and merge them together or match them? And we can give it an approval on that. So that way those will become the same transaction. I don't have to go back through and do it again just because the bank brought it in. The other thing to note on that, that is, not super common in a lot of systems, but in ours it is a hard and fast rule, is that everything's coming into Traction, but nothing's going back out. So if I went ahead and cut this Joe Bob check today, the bank is not notified in any way, shape, or form. It's not going to reflect there until that check is processed on the bank side and that check is cashed. So within Traction, everything is a one-way sync. So even on farms and fields, if we bring in those different boundaries, everything's a one-way sync. Nothing's going back out of the system. So in terms of data security in that way, this is really my set of books, same as PcMars. Nobody's getting into your computer and pulling your desktop data. It is all yours, and the same goes for Traction in the system. Any other questions on this piece? And if not, we're going to deviate and go sort of into the accounting reports.
Yep, not seeing any, Hannah.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into this way because I know we've got about 15 minutes left and I want to leave time at the end for any remaining questions and some wrap up. So within the system, we've got some different levels of reporting. We can still, in this basic, we can still do a field profit center. So if we are allocating our expenses over to our fields or farms, then we can go ahead and pull a report on what that profitability was per those acres. So I can get that report. You're not going to see it here. I can show it in my other account here in a moment. But we do have the ability to do a dollar per acre number if we're allocating those expenses over to our fields and we have our fields into the system. So that is an option even on our basic level to try to provide some of that analysis. Otherwise, you're going to see here, these cash reports are all available along with 1099s and a Schedule F. So in this account, I don't have very much in here, but I can pull this too, or any of our reports minus the Schedule F. I can pull them for multiple sets of books at the same time. So maybe I do want to have a whole balance sheet looking at multiple facets of the operation or multiple different LLCs that I might have. I can pull both of them. And then I could say I just want to pull it as of today and update this report. So now it will go ahead and reflect those new balances. Or I could say I only want to see the farm entity, and you can see that switch up here at the top of the report. And then I can see all of those balances here as I go down through the report. And again, if I have those numbers on the account, those will show up here as well. And I can always drill down into this too. So if I need to take a look at any of these, I can go ahead and click on, okay, what happened here? This was an evaluation of the 9RX. So I've got that in as my 1-1 into that account. So I do have the ability to drill down into these reports. I can export this and then I can print it as well. Same goes for that income statement that I have. So again, right here, I'm looking at the whole year. I could just look at a month as well. I probably won't have much in here. Yep, that definitely pulled that report down to bare basics. But if I'm looking at something specifically and I say, okay, where did this feed expense come from? I can go ahead and click on that. Takes me to that Joe Bob transaction. I click back in and I can see, oh yeah, it was a part of this larger transaction that happened. If I need to make edits, I can go in and do it directly from here as well. So I do have the chance to go back in and drill down on these. I also, again, can run these as a year. I could go back to last year. I can pull whatever specific dates I want to be looking at these reports. And I can pull them again for multiple entities if I choose. So a lot of flexibility in reporting. So that way I can get really specific types of reports out of here. Again, we've got general ledger detail report. One of the things that we know that we need also is a tax detail report in our system. We don't currently have that right now, but it's something that we are working on. But we can also pull that trial balance cash method. So that way we can really take a look at those accounts and where everything is at. And we can go ahead and go find those different transactions as we're in the system. So it's a quick way to look those pieces up. Any questions on this, or Kent, anything that you would add in terms of different advantages to the reporting?
I would just say the ability to combine the entities makes it, much more useful to see the big picture. And I really have enjoyed that with the traction to use that. And I think most people are probably used to that tax detail report, which again, we are working on, so they can have that and kind of feel familiar. So,
Yep. Yep. We will, and hopefully that'll be coming fairly soon, because that's one that we're definitely working on as a team.
Mhm.
Again, the Schedule F report, again, this one in this demo account, I don't have much in here. My apologies. We share this one out with the whole team. But this would generate here, so we can go back and look at, last year or this year as we apply it forward. And it's going to be able to pull those balances. As we've created these accounts within the system, it is automatically tying them into that Schedule F. So we don't need to go in and say this is the correct category. It knows to do that similarly to what you've experienced in PcMars. So all of that is on that back end. So they're already tied in. Any other reports we would want to specifically take a look at here from anyone in the group?
I think you covered it, Hannah. Yeah, did a good job.
Okay. Again, I just want to highlight as we sort of wrap up here, and then I'll open it up to questions and hand it back over to Brian here in a moment. But one of the things that I think is an advantage, especially for Traction, is that you do have a team of people behind you. Again, as Brian mentioned, all of us have farm experience or are currently in the industry. So personally, we are on farm and have a lot of background in that. Not to say that I can advise you on any rice farming or anything citrus related, but on most things we can figure it out as a team, and we really are available to you for those items. We do have a help center even within the system. So similarly to what Kent set up, that's very extensive. You can go to our actual knowledge center, ask it any questions, or take a look at different videos and articles about how to do just about everything in the system. So typically there's a video or multiple, and then there's also a step-by-step with screenshots and how to manage the system and operate. Additionally, you've got the team. So our team has already been in the chat, like I mentioned this morning. If I typed into here, I would start getting responses. So if I'm working on something, I can chat right into the team, or you can give us a call. We've got plenty of people to support you. within the group, and we want to ensure that folks are successful in the platform. So level of service is still going to be there, just like you've experienced with PcMars. You've got a team of people helping manage the system. Even if you just say, I want to take a look at this and play around, that's what we're here for. And we'd be happy to, like I said, do any of that one-to-one as well if you really want to dive into the system and see what it would mean for your operation. So I will at this time. Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead,
I had a
Brian.
really good question come through here. We might need Kent's help on this one,
Okay.
but Ira has a question. I plan to stay with PcMars in the near term. I used to mail my payment to them. Where do I send my 2026 payment to and get instructions on how to unlock my PcMars program so I can start my 2026 records? Kent?
So nothing has changed on that. The only thing that has changed is who you make the check payable to. Instead of PcMars is Traction Ag. So how PcMars works is you'll create that new set of books to give you the option to pay online or print off the order form with that unique unlock code. That's exactly the same. The address is on the order form. Again, if you're mailing in a check, we do need that order form because it's got a unique unlock code that we can't duplicate. So that process is the same. We would encourage people to pay online. It's just immediate and a lot simpler, and you're eligible for some possible discounts that you're not when you mail in the form. Any other questions on that, or did I cover that there?
Great. Yeah, fantastic.
Any other general questions? And if not, I'm going to hand it back to Brian to wrap up because we've got just about 6 minutes left. Okay. Well, thank you all very much. Like I said, I am happy to, as you get those follow-up emails, if you're interested in doing more of a one-to-one, I'd be happy to facilitate that or get you to a team member to do that. So just feel free to reach out to us. And thank you all so much for being here today. Brian, take it away.
Sounds good. Yeah, so just a couple of things here to wrap up today's webinar. Well, looks like I got ahead of myself here. We have some other webinars coming up here in the near future. So if you want to attend, I say a more deeper look into traction, we do have a really nice one September 2nd. You're more welcome to attend. So that's going to be covering our crop sales, deductions, advanced grain payments. So we'll be really deep diving in that part of traction. And we'll have a few other ones that are somewhat similar to this one here coming up, September 10th, September 24th. So if you want to maybe a recap on that and kind of go through what that would look like, we're trying to rotate presenters and maybe show some different things in Traction Basic. So I think that's good for all of you to maybe come back and see us again. And then if you have any ideas for other webinars, let us know, especially for the PcMars folks out there. If there's something there that you want us to cover that you haven't seen today, let us know. We'd be more than happy to add a topic and deep dive into that area of the software. But check out our website. Go to tractionag.com. A lot of you are probably familiar going to the PcMars website, which is fine. That's still up and running. But we do have these other webinars on Traction on the Traction website, and we keep that area up to date as well. So feel free to check that out. And my last slide is just for those of you that have not started a trial yet on Traction, I'd say now is a great time to do it, especially looking at August, September. I know it's we still have quite a ways until the year end, but our team can help you really get up to speed pretty quickly with a trial and let you get in there and really do some experimenting on your data and kind of see what it looks like before you get to year end. And if you're in that camp that you're kind of looking at maybe making a change for your farm accounting and maybe taking a hard look at it, again, now is a great time just to experiment with it, because we've got the time. Perhaps you have a little extra time right now before harvest. So we'd love to spend that time with you to take a close look at Traction and see what it can do for you. Other than that, I think we will close her down. I want to say thank you to both Hannah Everett and Kent from PcMars. Thank you for stepping in today and providing your insight of Traction and PcMars. So thanks, everyone. We'll see you again.